Welcome to the crossroads. I am the gatekeeper. My name is Lazurus, and I'm here today to call in the old gods and teach you a little lesson about those gods. Let us now open the portals and allow those gods in. We call now to the God, to the Lord of nature, Lord of the wildwood. We call to you now. Enter here by hoof and horn. Come as we learn about the divine. We call to the goddess of the moon, the goddess of the earth. We call you now, silver priestess, mother and crone witch. We call you here now. Enter into our circle, enter into our right as we learn the ways of old. And we ask that Drighton, Almighty, Divine One who was created by itself, we call to you to shift your awareness now to what we are talking about, to what we are learning today. Shift your awareness now to this space. And we burn white sage to cleanse and purify this area, and to cleanse and purify our minds, and to cleanse and purify the spiritual ken. Blessed be. I give offerings to the east, to the south, to the west, and to the north. To air, fire, water, and earth I give offerings of healing and blessing. And to myself I cleanse and purify, that my words be of truth. And to you, seekers in the internet land, I give offerings of blessing and peace and joy to you. May you learn something today, and may wisdom be your guide, and may joy be in your heart. I give this sage offering to you. Blessed be. And we pour tobacco into the cauldron. The cauldron is a symbol of wisdom. We ask that Cadwin, the cauldron keeper, come to us tonight and teach us about magic, to teach us about the divine. May her will be with us. May her awareness be with us. We place this into the cauldron as an offering, and through this cauldron she will give her offering and her blessing to us back. For you give a blessing and an offering to the goddess, she gives back to you an offering and a blessing. Cadwin, we ask that you be with us in wisdom and in joy. Hail and welcome. Today we will be talking about the divine, about divinity, about the deities, about how they came into existence. This we're going to be coming from my point of views, from my teachings and study in occultism, and Wicca, witchcraft, general paganism. So let us begin. To examine different ideas of theology, we should first get into what these different types of theology are. For the most part, we have monotheism, pantheism, polytheism, and duotheism. Monotheism is a belief in one God. That there is only one power, there's only one source, there's only one God. This is what the Christians believe. Well, they come to say they believe. We won't go there. Anyhow, this is the monotheists are pretty much the Abrahamic religions. Duotheism, on the other hand, is more of what Christianity is you got God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and you got Satan. Two different types of gods, one evil, one good. Same as Zoroastrianism, you have the good and the bad. It's duotheism. Also in Wicca we have a duotheism, which isn't about good or evil, dark, light, none of that. We're not talking about anything of this nature. We're talking about God and Goddess. Although I do not fully believe in these ways of one goddess, one God, but yes, I do call on one goddess, one God. Although at times there is called for to call on more than one God, more than one goddess. But for the most part, I call to the God, the goddess, Lady, Lord, generic terms. There's polytheism, which is more in line of what I believe. I believe there are many gods, and all the gods have but just a small part of the truth. Just a simple amount, just a little tiny bit of what really is. Each of these gods has their own ways to worship them. They have their own individual thoughts, their own individual patterns of worship, their own individual likes and dislikes, and their own amount of good and evil. I believe that the mythologies and the myths that were written about the gods are just ways in which authors and artists were able to, explain the divine, how we are kind of doing today. It was their way of saying, this is how, this story right here is how this God is. It's not saying that this story actually happened, although some people do believe fully in the myths. I believe more of them as just archetypes, just symbols of what this God is. And we can get a little bit of teaching and learning from them in a, in a fun way. Pantheism. Pantheism is the belief that God is within everything that there is. That the tree and me and you and all of the gods and all the things are just one. They're all one thing, one supreme God it broke itself down into everything that is. Now see, I believe this also. I believe this is what Drayton is. Drayton is the pantheistic god of Wicca. It's the all, the source of everything that is. It's the source of all things. It's the top of the pyramid. And the third degree symbol of Wicca, we have a 5-point star, which is the pentagram, and it's topped with a triangle going up, a pyramid. It's got 3 points. Those 3 points symbolize Drayton, God, and Goddess. And then that point in which the triangle overlaps, that symbolizes spirit. That symbolizes, the spiritual entities, angels, demons, fae, dragon, unicorn. That symbolizes all those spiritual entities. But it also symbolizes where the Godhead comes down into us, into our existence. Our existence compromises of the earth, the fire, the water, and the air. These we also worship. We also hold as divine. We also adore these, and we call upon them for help. The elementals are our existence. They're here within us, without us. Everything that is has something to do with the elements, unless it is a spiritual entity, which is symbolized by the top of the pentagram. So let's get back to a little bit about gods and what they are. So as I was saying before, I believe that the gods are all in existence. Allah, Yahweh, Zeus, Apollo, Isis, Osiris, Odin, Cernunnos, Dada, all the gods, Danu, all of them, every single one exist. Now, the thing is some people believe their God is the only God, the right God. If you don't believe in this God, you're damned to hell and you're evil, and they'll kill you because you don't believe in their God, which is total garbage, total trash, if you ask me. You know, I don't believe in this universalism. I don't believe that, you know, the whole universe has to believe in this one single God. Now, I believe in universalism as in we all coexist in this universe together. But I don't believe in this universal God, this Catholic God that everyone has to believe in, or else you're condemned to death. It's total garbage. I believe that we should grow in peace and harmony and, you know, put our differences aside and let humanity grow. But humbleness ain't with every single one of us. Something people have to work on. That's why in Wicca we have perfect love and perfect trust. They're two goals that we can attempt to go towards. So anyhow, let's step away from the ethics and let's just go into the beliefs. So all these gods exist. Followers of the gods get what those gods give as a reward to their worship. You know, salvation. They give a, you know, peace on earth. Some intellectual truth, a key to nirvana, a key to the absolute. You know, they give you awen and inspiration. You know, and every religion holds just the truth, as I've said. So you get that little bit of truth when you follow these religions. You follow a religion, you follow it to its fullest, you'll get what that religion is telling you. You know, if you're Christian, you're getting salvation. You're being saved from darkness, whatever that means. But anyhow, I'm not to judge. It's their belief. I believe that whatever they believe in is going to happen to them. That is fully on them. You know, their God exists. Their book, yeah, as bad as it is, it has some truth in it. Anyhow, let's keep going on. So, let's talk a little bit now about Wicca. In Wicca, there are many diverse beliefs about the divine. We have monotheistic feminist Wiccans that only believe in the goddess. Believe that all the names of the goddesses are just thousands of names for this one great goddess. This one matriarch. So then there's the belief that comes from Dion Fortune, when belief that all gods are but one god, and all goddesses are but one goddess, and there's one initiator. This belief has been brought down into neo-paganism and neo-Wicca by way of such authors as J.L. Gardner. This belief is really a puzzle. It's not really a belief. There's an idea, you know, it comes from, you know, Kabbalah. There's a supreme matriarch and a supreme patriarch. There's Hokmah, Bina. In Hinduism, you have Shiva, Shakti. You have in Wicca, God, Goddess, Lady, Lord. This is just a supreme archetype for the masculine and the feminine. They're the first thing created after Triton, which I will get to this in just a few minutes. Let us just talk now a little bit about this one God, one goddess theology. This is not, Diane Fortune wasn't the first to believe in this or even mention this. She wasn't the first person to, you know, alliterate it to us. The humanist and Neoplatonist Conrad Mushin, back in the day, he said, "There's but one God and one goddess, but many are their powers and names." And he was speaking about all the gods and goddesses, you know, being just that one, just there's one God, one goddess, dual theism. Now, let us see now a little bit more. You know, and let's talk about it, the one God, one goddess thing of Wicca. is in the writings of Jill Gardner. In the practices you find the spring moon goddess and the belief in the horned god. These are the two gods. There's one goddess, one god. All of the goddesses are seen as just this one goddess, which kind of throws me off a bit, because they'll talk about Earth Mother, but then they talk about the Silver Priestess, the moon goddess. The moon and the earth are not the same thing, people. Okay? I believe that there are many gods, many goddesses. So, but I'm not going on saying you're wrong in your belief. I'm just saying, think about it. Okay? Just think just a little bit about it. There is a supreme archetype called goddess, and there's a supreme archetype called god. But not every god, not every goddess is exactly the same thing. I mean, you can't say Isis is Kali Ma. There's a complete difference. Okay, there's just complete difference in this. So let's keep going on about these different beliefs. Let's see now. I'm reading from my work here, so let me just check here. All right. So in primitive times now, let's go all the way back to our origin. Our very first, our shamanic origins. In primitive times, every aspect of living was a god. Your breath, that was a god. Your beauty, that was a god. The rock was a god. The lightning, the thunder, the rain were gods. They did not veneer these gods. They didn't hold worship for these gods. More, they tried to compromise and work with these gods. They said to the rain, "Please, rain, can you stop now?" They didn't say, "Hey, rain, we worship you and hail you. Can you keep coming, keep coming?" "Oh, lightning, we worship you." No, that is why we have shelter. That's why we have homes. Because the primitive people said, "Yo, dude, there's something crazy going on outside right now. It's not a good thing." They did not worship rain. They did not worship nature. More, they were afraid of nature. It wasn't until, written civilization that I believe we actually started to worship something. They called on them, yes, but they didn't build temples to these gods. They did not bow down and praise the gods. This is something that happened over time, and as humanity evolved, we got worship and belief like that. So yes, the gods have been around forever. The idea that there's something greater has always been within us. Ever since the first breath of the first human, there was the idea that there is something greater than us. Not saying that it was worship, though. I don't believe that the ancients worshipped. The prehistoric people did not worship the gods. They were more afraid of them. They were more willing to say, "Hey, please, can you just stop raining so that, we can live?" Although, at some point, they connected the fact that it has to rain in order for the food to grow. Then is probably when they started to worship the rain. They said, "Oh, wait a second, if it doesn't rain, we're not going to have food." So then they began to understand it, but they still had shelters to keep themselves out of the rain. So there you go. They weren't really into worshiping this thing. Anyhow, they had a pantheistic view that God was in with everything, which we've talked about. Drayton is in with everything. That is what we believe. That is what I believe, at least. And I know there's others out there that believe in this. So let us see now. To the occultist, just the ritualistic occultist, God is just a concept, just an idea. There's no existence called God. It's just a symbol. It's just an archetype. It's just a broad, abstract idea or a guiding general principle in which one can adopt to and become one with in order to reach a preset goal or desire. You could find this in the assuming of God forms. They just take the God form is just built on a concept, put all together into one thing, like my finger. You'll say this finger represents beauty and strength and all these things. You can just, okay, bam. So now let's take that one thing, let's take this one God that holds all these concepts and ideas, let's bring all the things together that would represent this idea, and let's embody ourselves with that. Embody ourselves with that concept of this God. Not saying this God is an actual being, they're just saying it's a concept. It is just, a metaphor for all these things that we wish we could have, or something that we can. It's like building a goal. Let's try to become this. To the occultist, it's a concept. It's just an archetype. The gods are just archetypes. They're not actual living beings. So some occultists are theists, but the majority of occultists, I believe, are pretty much atheists. They don't really believe too much in the existence of a living deity. They don't believe that the deity actually lives. Although there are theists that are occultists, me being one of them. Okay, now let's run back and formulate the theology of Wicca. In the beginning, there was just material and thought. There was just object and subjective. There was just the objective and the subjective. These were in total chaos. They had no descriptive terms. We can't describe what they were. We just know that there was just immense nothing. It was just nothing. There's no way to explain it because there's no terms in which we can explain nothing. I mean, for something to be an extreme nothing, obviously you can't define it because you call it a no thing. So what God came from is nothing. We can't explain it. It's too large for us to even know. So we just call it nothing. From nothing sprang Drighton. Drighton took pieces of the nothing and created itself. Drighton is an androgynous figure. It doesn't have sex with anything to create. It creates by itself. It is a hermaphrodite. It embodies both object and subject. So Drighton was created by himself out of nowhere. Just blah, one day here's Drighton. How you doing? So Drighton can be seen as a tree that holds all these seeds. Just symbolizing. I'm not saying Drighton is a tree. Drighton can be seen as a tree that has all these little seeds on it. Now as things are created, these seeds are taken and implanted within it. So within me, within you, there is a seed. There is a seed within you, within me. Now that seed is what we search for when we go into the darkness. When we say we're going in the dark to find our seed, to let it grow, we're talking about that seed that was implanted when creation, when we were created, when your mother and your father were in bed honoring each other. They were planting a seed within you. Your sperm carried that seed to the egg. Your sperm was the subject. The egg was the object. So think about that. When next time you hear somebody downplaying darkness, you gotta go into your psyche, and your psyche is dark, where that seed is planted. When you plant a seed in the earth, you're planting it in darkness. It'll find the light and grow up, but still its roots are in the dark. Its roots are in the dark. So just think about that for a little while. Just keep that in your mind. So these two chaotic sources of nothing, the subject and object, came together and created Drighton, the great spirit, the all-encompassing demiurge, self-created creator, So after this, Drighton created God and Goddess, the dual theistic now. See, Drighton is our monotheistic view. God, Goddess are our duotheistic view. Now this gets really complicated when you're trying to think of these things, because Drighton is also our monotheistic pantheistic view. Because you could have a monotheistic pantheistic view. You could say that all the things have God within them, but God is one. You could say that. So Drighton is our monotheistic pantheistic God, and the God and Goddess are our duotheistic gods. So we have the God and the Goddess, which came down And on the tree of life in the Kabbalah, this is seen as Hokmah and Bina. God, Goddess, Father, Mother. In the Bible it is Yahweh and Sophia. See, the Christians and the Jews aren't all, monotheistic as you think. Alright, here we go. Now, the Lord, the Lady, they are the ultimate, the Lord is the ultimate divine principle of the masculine. The Goddess is the ultimate divine principle of the feminine. So we have these two supreme, God, Goddess. And also we have the initiator. So back to the all gods are one God and all goddesses are one goddess. Which is now we'll break down the puzzle. See, the thing is that all the goddesses were created from the goddess. They all symbolize this one goddess. Yes, they do. But they are also individual themselves. It's kind of like I resemble my grandfather. But I'm not my grandfather. But I came from my grandfather. So I am, you can say I am my grandfather. So, kind of abstract thought, kind of an abstract thinking. It's a little deep, but, under this, you have many things were created from the goddess and the god. They created so much. And as they created more gods and more goddesses and angels and demons and fairies and fae and the dragon, the unicorn, when they created all these creatures and they created us, they created everything to be able to create itself. That's why we can make babies. We can create ourselves. Because all of creation is given that from Drayton. The fact that we can create. We have the ability to create. So there's numerous gods. We don't even know all the names for all the gods. There's the gods of the earth, gods of the moon. There's so many different ones and come with different names. And you can, for the most part, they overlap each other. And you got your chthonic gods, which are the gods of the earth. You have your celestial gods, which are gods in heaven. And there's gods of the underworld. So we have, these three layers of things. The gods of the underworld, the gods of this world, and the gods of the overworld. And just many gods. So we're polytheists, we're duotheists, we're pantheists, and we're monotheists. Gets really hectic, don't it? Alright. We also see God as just a concept. There, we can reach out to this concept and try to become this concept ourselves. So it's really confusing, but if we can find peace and harmony, all these beliefs can come together in one circle, in one humanity, and they could work out for the best. So, give me just one moment. Now, the pureness of the gods. The concept of a pure good deity is an ideal of the Abrahamic religions, of the desert religions, of the book religions. This idea of a pure good God, it's unreal. It's terrible. I don't believe in this at all in my belief system. Not saying you have to believe this, but to me, the gods are gods. You can't say, oh, you're good or you're evil. If the God wants to knock a tree down and kill us, how can we say, oh, well, that was evil of you? Well, so you could throw a tree down on someone else? You can't really do anything about it. The gods are just gods. That's it. They're not good. They're not evil. They are gods. How can we use these human terms and these human concepts on for a god? You can't say, oh, you're an evil god. You're Satan. Satan, you're evil. This is silly. Satan is only doing what God told him to do. Damn. What can you do? He said, go down and test Job, and if you can get him to turn away from me, he's all yours. So why are people say, oh, Satan's evil? Of course, because you want to turn your your own actions towards something else. You want to blame something else for your problems. If you turn to Satan or you do these things that you say Satan is telling you to do, you're the one that has the problem, not Satan. Satan's only doing what God told him to do. Anyhow, to me, there's no pure evil deity, no pure good deity. Simple and plain. That's it. Pureness is an ideal of the human mind. Now, pureness itself can be defined as the nirvana, going back to the original source, going back to Drayton and being transformed back to nothing. Having complete absolution, just completely gone. We're just completely annihilated. And our whole existence, our whole memory, our whole individually is gone. We are just back to the prime supreme being, back to that, chaotic origin. That is the ultimate divine. When you get to the seventh plane of existence, you're in complete annihilation. You're completely gone. You're completely obliterated. There's no more. There's no more Andrew. I'm gone. When I get to that state, I'm gone. I wish I could get to that state, but I know that I haven't climbed that high yet. It's something that we have to do over many lifetimes. You have to climb these ladders. I'm just starting to get to a little bit of a heightened spiritual being. I haven't made it that far. I'm just starting off to get past the physical plane. So, here we go. This concept of oneness and a polytheistic belief system. This really gets tricky here. Alright. Oneness is the ultimate perception of reality. It is the knowing that everything is moving in the same circle and everything is plugged into the same circuit. The one God prognosis of Christianity is not the oneness I am speaking of. It is the oneness of the Almighty Spirit that has descended down through creation. It is a part of everything in the existence, including the numerous gods, angels, demons, fairies, and other beings. Oneness then is the fact that we are all stars. We are us. I am you, you are me. And we are all just clusters of cells that are moved by the energy known as spirit. Each of us are individuals, but we are all still the same. For your own body may help you to see what I am talking about. You have two arms. Each is individual. This arm right here is not this arm here, but they resemble each other. And they're both connected to me. Through my two arms, two hands, they're connected to me. So, this arm is different than this arm, but they still are my arms. We are all one humanity. We all breathe the same air, bleed the same blood. We're all moved by the same spirit. We are all one. When we die and when we reach that seventh plane I was talking about, we are one. We are all created from the same thing. We have our individuality, yes. But we still, our cells, our bodies is one. We're created from the same substances. Alright? So that's how we are all one family. We're one human family. No matter if you're black, white, Asian, it doesn't matter. We are all still the same clusters of cells with the same blood, same breath, same air. We all live the same ways. We might have a little bit of different path we're walking on, but still, we are still walking. So, the Buddhist has their way, the Christian have their way, the witch has their crooked path. Our path isn't always cut and dry. We could be walking a straight path for this long and all of a sudden it turns. Okay, well, let's turn this way now. Oh, shoot, I don't want to turn. Let's just go through the woods then. Because we don't fear the dark, we don't fear the unknown. So, the idea is that we are all walking, we're all living here. So that's the oneness we're talking about in a polytheistic religion. Let's see. So due to our connection through spirit, we are one. Because of that spirit seed that's within all of us, we are one. Our roots are one. So we've talked about the nothing, about Drayton, about God, goddess, about gods and goddesses. Not different from God, goddess. There's gods and goddesses. There's angels, demons, fairies. There's dragons. There's plenty different mythical beings and mystical beings, which you can find in the astral plane, or you can find when you shift consciousness. There's a lot of these things, a lot of like different elementals that are in serpent form. Yeah, you could see them as dragons, but some of them aren't dragons. They're just clusters of cells moving around, or clusters of energy just moving around. They look as though they're serpents. So anyhow, there's all these different beings, and then there's us living folk, the bear, the human, the bee, the flora. It's all this living stuff. So let's talk now more of the Wiccan viewpoint, the triple goddess. The generic form of the goddess in Wicca is known as the triple goddess. This is the one goddess of Wicca, which has 3 forms, but they're still the same thing. So the great goddess concept, this has been being written about for many years, since classical times. This idea of one great goddess, I mean, they say that's what it is. But anyhow, Robert Gray's The White Goddess is where most of our belief in the triple goddess comes from, which is poetic. It's good, but I'm not going to say that the triple goddess is such an ancient thing, although, we have Hecate, which is a triform goddess, not a triple goddess. She's not made of Mother Crone. Hecate just has 3 faces looking over the 3 crossroads. We have Bridget's, we have the Morrigan. These are triple goddesses, but they're more just 3 goddesses working together as one goddess, or working together over one power. It's like a line in a factory. You got 3 different people doing it. One guy's putting the thing together, the other guy's stamping in approval, the other guy's packing it away. It's what the triple goddess does. They work together. It's 3 goddesses working together, like the Grey Eye and the Gorgon sisters. They're 3. They work together. Like the Fate, like the Fates. Like the Graces. They all work in 3s. So, but in Wicca and in neo-paganism, the White Goddess by Robert Graves talks about the maiden, the mother, and the crone. The maiden represents the virgin goddess, new beginnings, enchantment, youth, innocence, purity, and she also could be seen as a seductress. The maiden is symbolized within the waxing of the moon. Her color is white, silver, or any other color that one likens to purity. Now, not purity talking about pure good or whatever, more like, pure innocence of a child, kind of like, she hasn't did anything yet, just a clean slate, just a clean slate, not good, not evil, just clean slate. Alright, the mother represents ripeness, fertility, fulfillment, stability, power, motherhood, love, security, and the giver of food. The mother is symbolized by the full moon. Her color is red, or other color that links one to the mother. Whatever you feel will link you back to the mother. It could be green. I like the symbolism of red, white, red, and black. That's the symbols of the goddess to me. So the red is, the mother. This is just how it is to me. That's just how I see it. Blood, you think of your mom, you think of blood. You're created from her blood. Alright, the mother is called on to help with issues of childbirth, education, cooking, to stabilize situations, to bring protection to one's own children, and any other forms of maturity and parenthood. Now we got the crone goddess. The crone represents the old hag, the old witch, the grandmother, the wise old woman. The crone is wisdom, repose, compassion, old age, the wisdom of a lifetime, death, and she is the disciplinarian, like your grandmother cracks the whip on your ass, when you're doing shit wrong. Your grandmother's there to smack the crap out of you. I don't know about your grandmothers, but I know my grandmother cracked the fucking whip on us, We do something bad, do something terrible, you're getting a freaking Nintendo cord across your ass. Alright? So that's how I see the crone goddess, is the grandmother, She's there, she's stern, she's firm, but she's fair. Now, you don't give her a reason to whoop your ass, she won't whoop your ass. But the reason she is whooping your ass is not because she's abusive. It's because she wants you in line. She wants you to be wise and smart and live in knowledge, not to live in being a complete animal, you know. I mean, yeah, we're a nature religion. We believe in being animals, but I'm talking about being a civilized individual, somebody who lives for right reason, not just destroying things and, you know, in total chaos and being a complete dummy, you know, not running around just doing anything because it looks like it's okay, it looks fun. You know, it's your grandmother will smack you, hey, why the hell are you doing that? So that's how I see the crone goddess, you know, she whips us into shape. She's seen in the dark of the moon, which a lot of people don't work with the dark of the moon because dark, that's scary. No, dark's not scary to me. I work the dark moon more for getting answers, reading my tarot, you know, casting my runes, finding out an answer, and calling out for wisdom, because it symbolizes the crone. Crone is wisdom, so that is when you go to the dark of the moon to call in the crone powers. So we have the triple goddess, Maiden, Mother, Crone. Maiden, it's like the teenage seductress, you know, she's starting to get her hormones in and feeling good about herself. The maiden can be seen as the child goddess, who grows through those stages all the way up until she becomes. The maiden basically is the goddess before she becomes mother. The mother is the goddess before she becomes the grandmother. So there you have it, triple goddess. And then there's the horned god of nature. In Wicca, there's the prime god known as Cernunnos, or the horned one. No, he's not Satan, not the devil. That's a different guy. You know, we'll talk about him a different time. The devil, you know, the devil is basically any pagan god or god that is not of the, you know, not the Christian God. Any other god is definitely considered the devil. So I mean, I'll say hail devil, because basically you're saying that what they're saying in the Bible are saying in their Christian beliefs in their church, that if you're not the Christian God, you're the devil. So Pan is the devil then. You know, I'm not scared to say it. Shit, that's what they say. The word witch was a derogatory term until we took it back, so why can't we take back devil? I'm a little devil. Anyhow, just joking. Alright, so the horned god could be seen throughout history, throughout many religions, from the Mediterranean to the Celtic lands to Shiva. There are votives of, you know, Shiva with horns. There are wild gods throughout Hinduism, throughout the Celtic belief system, through Norse belief systems. Many belief systems have a horned god. Most of them are trickster gods, like Loki. There are, you know, Cernunnos and Pan can be seen as trickster gods also. But they are the lords of nature. They're the lords of the wildwood. You know, we call on them. You know, in Wicca, the horned one is the great god. When I'm just doing a general prayer or a general working or lesson, I call on these generic gods. I say, Lord of nature, Lord of the wildwood, I call your presence here. I call you now, enter now into my circle. And I call to the goddess, triple moon goddess, silver priestess, I call you here and now, enter my circle. I call on them like this, because that calls on the supreme, the ultimate, you know, ultimate principle. And whatever you're asking for, they can hand it out. It's like going to like the secretary at a office or something. You don't know where to go, so you ask the front desk, where to go? Where do I go? When you do that, you're asking. This is the first that you step into a building, you get to the front desk, and there's the person, you know, sitting at the front desk, and you say, hey, I'm here for this reason, I'm here for this purpose, and they direct you where you need to go. So the supreme goddess can be seen this way, or supreme god. So you call on these two for generic reasons when you don't have a specific goal in mind, if you aren't doing a specific thing. But you can also take on the two gods. You take on two names to call on. Like I call on Cernunnos, I call on Aradia, or I call on Diana and Lucifer, or I call on, you know, Shiva, Shakti. You can give names to the Supreme, or you can pick two, one goddess, one god. You're getting both coming in. So you're between the two pillars. And in my rites, I always call on Drayton. You know, I always make mention of Drayton to bring my Drayton awareness with Drayton. So I'm in line. So every working I'm doing is building me spiritually. So anyhow, then you get into the pantheons. Pantheons, patron deities, and polytheistic gods. Now this is when you get into the idea. A pantheon is, pantheon means, pan means all. Theos means God. So pantheon means all the gods. A pantheon is a grouping of gods from a certain culture or a certain belief system, all under, you know, one list. So you got the Greek pantheon, you have Zeus, Hera, Hades, you know, keep going down the list. You know, in the Celts, you got the children of Danu, you have, you know, Lu, you have Bridget, you got Morrigan, you got Cadwin, you got all these going down the list. In the Norse pantheon, you got Odin, Thor, you got, you know, Freya, you got Frigg, you got all those and numerous others. You got the Egyptian pantheon, which includes, you know, Isis, Osiris, Hathor, Bastet. You got Seth. You got all these, you know, all these gods and the Egyptians. You know, each culture has their own pantheon of gods. So you could build your own pantheon too. I mean, some people say, "Oh, this ain't right. Why would you call on Isis while you're calling on Venus?" Well, who cares? It's not you calling on them. I'm calling on them. I've did it. I've called on gods of different cultures together under one roof. I mean, if you're going to call in, I mean, I wouldn't call in, let's see. I've did it before, which was not a good experience. I've called on Horus, and I've called on Set at the same time, and, you know, very bad headache. Very not good idea. I did it to just see what had happened. You know, I had a high temperature, bad fever, very sick, puking, terrible thing. So when you're calling on different types of gods, when you're calling on, you know, gods of different pantheons or from the same pantheon, make sure that they don't have any opposing threats to each other, you know. Don't try to have gods fighting for you over your soul. But, you know, I've called in angel, demon, fairy, fae, dragon, unicorn, come now in peace. You know, if you're coming from two different sides of the fence, come and meet at the fence. Don't cross the fence. Just come meet at the fence in peace for just one moment in a spiritual delightment. Just you know, come together now just for one moment, just for just a second of your time. Just stand at the edges of the circle, you know, and just look over and see each other in differences. You know, you have your differences. Don't fight right now. Just have a moment of joy and peace. So yeah, you can do it. I've done it. I'm still living. I'm still breathing today. My life might not be the greatest of lives to some. I don't have all the money in the world, or, you know, I don't have all the things that you may wish to have. But I have what I like, what I need to live. So, let's keep going on this discussion. You know, patron deities now. My first very patron deity was Bridget. It was the first goddess I ever really learned about. First goddess my mom really told me about. Mainly because she was born on, I mean, I was born on her day. You know, I was born February 2nd on Bridget's day. So my mom pretty much told me about Bridget, and I said, you know, I'm going to make a prayer to her, because I was in some really bad times. I don't want to talk about them times right now, but I was in some bad times at the time that I learned about Bridget, and I said, you know, let me try and make a prayer to her, since, you know, we were from the same day. Maybe, you know, maybe there's a kinship there. So I made a prayer, and things happened that I wanted to happen. With her help, maybe it's coincidence. Not sure. Not sure what it was, but I made prayers to Bridget and it happened. So she became a patron deity. Well, I come to find out she was the goddess of crafts. Goddess of smiths. Well, my father's last name is Smith. I guess she is my patron deity. No, I'm just joking. Anyhow, I'm a craftsman. Everything that, this robe that I'm wearing, I made this. Most of the things that I have, I've made from, and it comes from other things, like, I find something old and say, hey, let's cut this up and let's make something else out of it. I have my staffs I've all made myself. I want to make my own blade, which I haven't did yet. So, I'm really inclined to try to make everything that I own, especially spiritual things. I'd rather find out how other people have did it and then make my own and make it different. It may look similar and you might say, oh, you did it wrong. I didn't do it wrong. I did it right. I did it for me. I didn't do it for you. I did it for me. I didn't do it for anybody else. So if you see like my staff or something, you might say, oh, well, why'd you do it this way? Why not? Why not? My patron deity's Bridget. She gives me craftsmanship and I created it. And then I got into poetry, and then I found out after I got into poetry, oh, Bridget's the goddess of poetry. I wouldn't say I'm the greatest of poets, but I enjoy writing poems. They might not be the greatest, but they sound good to me. So anyhow, so the polytheist gods, these we've talked about, and the pantheons, all these gods, they all exist. I'm a polytheist. I believe that Gaia, I believe in Sister Moon, I believe in Father Sky, the Sun, I believe that Ra exists, I believe that Yahweh exists, Jesus exists, I believe that all gods exist. There's numerous gods, billions of these gods, and you can't see them all, but I believe fully in nature. Nature is now one of my patron gods. My patron goddesses is nature, the tree and the earth, you can actually see that God. You can actually touch that God. So let's go on a little bit. Let's see what else we have to talk about. For the most part, that is my belief in the gods. I believe in the divine as having many aspects. There's different levels to the deities. You got angels and demons, and then you got dragons and other mystical kin that are found in the astral plane. You got your lower gods and your higher gods, and you got your god, you got your goddess, you got Drayton, you got the nothing. There's just plenty of stuff here. Plenty of stuff that we've talked about. So I think we'll conclude with that. Just my ramblings and rantings about gods and goddesses, and a little bit about everything here, about the beliefs in the divine. You call into divine. Let's just talk one last thing. You call into divine with invocation. You never banish a god. You ask them if they wish to leave now, and you say, hail and farewell. When you're calling in the gods, you say hail and welcome, or you say some other greeting. You never try to banish a god. That's just rude. Banishing lesser deities or lower beings, such as demons and angels. Yes, you can banish them. Banish spirits, bad spirits that are causing hectic chaos in your home. Yeah, you can do that. But I don't believe that you banish the gods. You invoke them, and then you allow them to leave. You open the portal and say, you can go now. Or you can stay if you like, hail and farewell. You treat them as guests. If you have a guest in your home, if your mother comes over to visit, you don't get the hell out of my house. Banishing in a magical sense is basically saying, get the hell out of here. So instead you give them a good farewell. We'll meet again at some point. We believe that the god and goddess and Drayton is always with us. Drayton, there's no way you can call in Drayton. You can say, Drayton, shift your awareness to me. oh Drayton, I am finished now in this ritual, your awareness may shift away. But you are Drayton, I am Drayton, everything is Drayton. So you can't say, oh, let's turn away. You can't invoke Drayton, you can't send away Drayton. You could just say for Drayton to have his awareness with you. Or not his, I just general way of speaking, you know. Is Drayton is just Drayton, you know, he's not a he or a she. So don't get all like, oh, he's a sexist on me. But anyhow, hail and farewell, my good friends. Let us now close the portal and bring ourselves back to our physical sense and our physical awareness. As I do will, this night is done, so may it be. Well, now that we have learned a little bit about the gods and the goddesses and Drayton, about spiritual kinfolk, let us now say hail and farewell to those beings. We say it in the north, hail and farewell to you earth powers and those that came through the north portal. We say hail and farewell to you. Blessed be. In the west, we say hail and farewell to you. To those powers that came through the west portal, we say hail and farewell to you. Blessed be. And to those powers in the south, to fire, we say hail and farewell to you. And those that came through the south portal, we say hail and farewell to you. Blessed be. And to those in the east of air, we say hail and farewell to you. To those that came through the eastern portal, we say hail and farewell to you. Blessed be. Now that the portals are open, we say hail and farewell to you, Lord of nature, Lord of the wild woods. To Canunos, and Pan, we say hail and farewell to you. Go if you must, stay if you like. Hail and farewell, blessed be. And to the goddess, to the silver priestess, to the moon and the earth, to Cadwin, to Morrigan, to Danu, and to all those goddesses that we worship and we praise, we say hail and farewell to you, blessed be. And to Drayton, we no longer need your awareness shifted towards us, but if you like, you may continue to listen over us. I am just allowing you now to know that my will is done. What is needed to be done today is over, and I allow your presence to be shifted away. Thank you for attending our circle and in our right, holy spirits and holy guardians. As I do will, with harm to none, so may it be. Blessed be. Oh crap, I didn't even start that.